This happened when I was 18, during a summer trip in Michigan. My family and my best friend Claire were on a road trip. We planned to camp near a theme park, but when we arrived, every site was booked solid. My dad, stubborn as ever, decided we'd just find a quiet place to set up on our own. Eventually, we pulled into a small gravel lot on the edge of a nature preserve. A narrow trail led down to a secluded beach. The place was eerily empty, except for one old beat-up car parked at the edge of the lot. No one inside. It looked abandoned. We set up 2 tents, my parents in one, Claire and I in the other. We spent the evening laughing, scrolling on our phones, eating junk food. It felt fun, adventurous. Around midnight, we zipped ourselves in and tried to sleep. That's when the noises started. At first, it was faint, metal scraping against gravel. Then the heavy slam of a trunk, shutting. Claire grabbed my arm. We both froze. The car. That old car. Seconds later, its headlights flared to life, sweeping across our tents before peeling out of the lot and disappearing into the night. I told myself it was nothing, just someone leaving late. But then, a scream. A man's scream, distant but blood-curdling, echoing through the trees. I texted a friend nearby, telling him where we were. His reply made my stomach twist. That beach is used by gangs and dealers at night. Not safe. Before I could even process, I heard footsteps, slow, crunching gravel outside our tent. They circled once, twice, stopping right in front of us. I held my breath. Whoever it was stood there, close enough I could hear their ragged breathing. Then they moved toward my parents' tent, then back again. Finally, silence. A minute later, headlights blasted through the lot. The same car. It slowed, paused, then sped off again. Moments later, flashing blue and red lights lit up the forest, a police cruiser chasing after it. None of us slept. Claire and I abandoned the tent for the car, locking the doors, waiting for daylight. The next morning, my mom admitted she had heard the footsteps too. She just didn't want to scare us. Later, I looked up the area. A man had been stabbed in that forest just weeks earlier. 2 others had vanished from that same beach. I still wonder, was that scream we heard the beginning or the end? My name's Aaron, and this happened when I was driving back from a work trip in Texas. I'd been on the road most of the day when I got a message on Instagram from an old friend, Mark. I hadn't seen him in nearly 10 years. We'd been close in high school, but drifted apart after graduation. He saw my post that I was heading home, and he said, "Why don't you stop by? I live out near Greenville. It's right on your way." It felt weird, reconnecting out of nowhere, but part of me was excited. Nostalgia, I guess. His house was tucked back from the road, a weathered old place with peeling paint and a porch that sagged in the middle. It wasn't creepy exactly, more like something frozen in time. Mark greeted me like no time had passed, smiling wide, dragging me inside where the furniture looked like it belonged in a 1970s catalog. It smelled faintly of dust and old wood, but it had that lived-in warmth. We caught up for hours, drinking whiskey. By the time midnight rolled around, I was far too drunk to drive. Mark insisted I stay the night. He led me to a spare bedroom, flicked on the dim lamp, and left me with a glass of water. The room felt unused. The sheets were stiff, and the air was stale, like no one had been in there for months. But I was too exhausted to care. I collapsed into bed and drifted off. At some point, I woke up. The house was silent, moonlight seeping through the blinds. My throat was dry, my head buzzing. That's when I saw it. A tall shape in the corner of the room. It looked like a coat on a stand at first, but the longer I stared, the less it looked like clothing. The outline was too broad, too human. I froze, heart pounding. My mind raced. Was it a trick of the moonlight? Something Mark left there? But then it shifted, just slightly, like shoulders rising and falling with breath. I squeezed my eyes shut, whispering to myself that I was just drunk, hallucinating. When I dared to peek again, the corner was empty. Morning came with sunlight streaming in. Relieved, I convinced myself it had been nothing, until I told Mark. He frowned. There's no coat rack in that room. Never has been. My blood went cold, because I know what I saw. Something was in that room with me, watching me. I grew up in Kentucky, in a small two-story house with my older brother, Ryan. He was 8, I was 6. Bedtime was always strict, 8:30 sharp. Our dad didn't play around when it came to rules. One night, Ryan shook me awake. His face was pale. He whispered, "Listen." At first, I heard nothing, then, faint but clear, a woman's voice drifting up the stairs. "Ryan. Alex." My heart leapt. It sounded like our mom. I started to get out of bed, but Ryan grabbed my arm. His voice trembled. "That's not Mom." I brushed him off, telling him he was trying to scare me, but curiosity pulled me to the bedroom door. I cracked it open. The voice was louder now. "Ryan, Alex, come down here." I tiptoed to the stairwell and peered down, and froze. At the bottom of the stairs stood a woman, but not my mother. She was too tall, too thin, her head cocked unnaturally to the side. She looked up at me, and with a smile that stretched too wide, she said, "Hi, sweetie." "Come here." I slammed the door and locked it, tears streaming down my face. Ryan and I screamed, stomping on the floor to wake our parents. They came running, unlocking the door. Dad charged downstairs while Mom stayed with us, pale as a sheet. Minutes later, red and blue lights flashed through the curtains. A police car had pulled up. We were never told who or what that woman was. Our parents insisted it was just a stranger. But to this day, the question haunts me. How did she know our names? Back when I was in college, I joined some friends on a winter camping trip in Vermont. There were 4 of us, me, my roommate Dylan, and 2 girls from our dorm. We set up camp deep in the woods, far from anyone. By nightfall, the temperature dropped and the forest grew unnervingly silent. Around midnight, we sat around the fire, laughing when it happened. A scream tore through the trees. It wasn't close, but it wasn't far either. A man's scream, loud, guttural, desperate. It echoed so violently it silenced us all. Dylan tried to play it off, saying it could have been an animal, but the rest of us knew better. Animals don't scream words, and we all heard it. "Help me." We sat frozen, listening. Then branches snapped nearby, footsteps, running. But we couldn't see anything beyond the firelight. Suddenly the scream came again, this time closer. We bolted into the tent, zipped it up, and sat in the dark, holding our breath. The footsteps circled our campsite once, twice. Then silence. We didn't sleep. At first light, we packed up and hiked out as fast as we could. Later, we found out someone had gone missing in those woods the week before. His body was never recovered. I'll never forget the way that scream sounded, like someone caught between life and death, begging for help that would never come.